Okay, now we're recording. Okay, so what I love about it is that it's an opportunity to get to know each other on a different level than you would when we went around 30 seconds, you introducing yourselves, telling us about your business, and all this stuff, which is awesome. But oftentimes what happens is while we're doing the 30-second thing, we're not even really listening. We're used to it. We've heard this before. We've heard this story before. So you're going to come back and you're going to have an opportunity to introduce the other person. So I hope you're as excited about it as I am, because as you know, I use the word excited. That's my word. So
and
I'm just
in the comment section, Michelle O'Neill is not able to be broken out into a group. So she's
okay.
Just heads up.
Okay, and I also know that Luann is not able to. She's not able to talk. So is there anybody else who's not able to break out into a room? I'm going to start breaking out and just start asking questions. You can do 4 minutes, 4 minutes. You can do, let's ask a question and answer it. There's no format. This is just getting to know people. So Brenda, if you can put the 7 minutes on the clock for me,
yep.
So I know that I have 8 minutes, and wish me luck. Here it goes. We're trying something new. Somebody can talk. You guys can unmute yourselves, but I might break you off, So Brenda, I'm going to send you over last so you can just start talking, girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take my video off so you guys can't see me staring at my screen. So Brenda, go have at it.
Together. It's all good. This will be fun. And it'll just be a way for you guys just to ask questions, get to know each other, take some notes while the other person's asking. Take notes for how would you want to be introduced, right? How would you want to be introduced with respect to who you are, who you serve, why you do what you do. That's one of the most important things that people want to know, is why you're connected to what you do and what your passion is. So, and ask clarifying questions as well. Sometimes when a person's sharing information about themselves, they say something and that makes it'll lead to another question that you might have as well. Let's see. So what's going to happen is Linda's going to pair you off, and I don't know if you'll see a message, you guys, the way that she's doing it. I'm not sure if you're going to see a message that is an invitation to go into a room, okay? So just keep an eye out for anything that might pop up on your screen that might in fact be an invitation. Make sense?
This is exciting.
What I'm looking forward to doing is when I see people start hopping out, when they get pulled out. So right now we're at, yep, I see it's happening.
It's happening.
Oh, there's Linda. she's throwing people into the other room.
Oh my God, it's exciting. I see some are going and some aren't. So let's see, who I should have left in here right now is Michelle, Luann, Brenda, and then Debbie and Desiree. And I'm trying to figure out how to send you two. I did something wrong when I assigned the room. So how do I do this? Oh, I can send a message to everybody.
Yeah. So right now we're at 2:21 in the process. What I think we'll do is when you get everyone in the room, we'll set the clock for 8 minutes.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Debbie and Desi.
Yep.
They're just going to be here with us.
Yep.
And so Debbie and Desi. Desi, are you able to unmute yourself?
She popped right up.
Yes.
She's at the bar.
That's Starbucks.
Okay, Starbucks. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I just want to, Brenda and I are just like flies on the wall, if you guys don't mind, and then go ahead and, because I can't figure out how to break you into a new room. So I did something wrong when I did it, but I learned for next time.
Yep, that's okay. So I'm gonna reset the clock for 8 now, and we'll start. So pretend like I'll actually walk away as well. So it's Debbie and Desiree.
Yes.
And
yes.
What about, there's the Michelle O'Neill here?
She's not able to come on, and neither is Luann. Yeah. So
I see.
So it's just you and Desi, okay? So Brenda, tell me when 4 minutes is up, because I'll do a broadcast.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Desi, you got to hop on, girl. Time to network. There we go. She just did a backflip.
I was just eating something, so I didn't want to eat on camera. But I'm here.
Okay, Debbie and Desi, you're networking. Go.
Oh, we're staying here with y'all. Okay. Okay. Well, Desiree, why don't you tell me a little about yourself as I take notes?
Okay. Hi, Debbie. It's nice to meet you. I'm Desi. I'm a teacherpreneur. My day job, I'm a school teacher. I teach 4 or 5-year-olds. But outside of school, I'm an entrepreneur, inventor, always have been. And I currently just filed a patent, yoo-hoo, for
Whoa.
my very first product. So I'm very excited about that. And we'll see where that goes. But I have, I guess I know I have a very creative mind. So I'm always thinking of other ideas. I'm also kind of thinking about maybe starting to speak a little bit more and maybe go into business coaching at some point. Not yet, but at some point. But I'm very happy to meet you.
You
Actually,
too.
I believe you were on the call last week or the week before, weren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you have a self-defense company?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm eating my
Um,
muffin.
that's okay. Eat your muffin. So this is pretty much it. I don't know when we're at 4 minutes, but let me make sure I got it right. You consider yourself a teacher entrepreneur, or I don't know how you said that to
I
make
said
that
teacherpreneur.
teacherpreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will try my best on that one.
Oh, that's fine. You don't have
So
to say it like that. You could just say teacher and entrepreneur. That's
so
fine.
so you teach 4 and 5-year-olds, which is
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You are an inventor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I put something else. Oh, entrepreneur, inventor. You've recently filed a patent. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
You have a creative mind. You like to have
Mm-hmm.
new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to. You're going to start speaking again. Is that
Well,
again?
no, just maybe starting to dabble in speaking engagements. I really haven't done any. So,
Okay.
but I have done some webinars recently where I've been a couple where I've been interviewed. So I'm starting to feel more comfortable about doing that kind of thing.
Okay. So you're starting to dabble in speaking,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to be a business coach.
Yeah, I want to maybe think about that down the line, dabbling in that also.
Um,
Personal development / business coach, but personal development actually probably would be better. Oh, and
Development.
I forgot to tell you, my ask for today is I'm in search of contacts who can help me license my product because I don't want to manufacture it. I want to license it. So I'm in search of contacts to help me license my product.
Okay.
We are at 4 minutes, ladies.
Okay. So Desiree, are you still there?
And
I am. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Linda West, where are you? Let folks know in the breakout rooms that we've got 4 minutes left.
Just did that. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome.
So Debbie Love, heads up self-defense for women. I teach. I'm also I'm a 4th degree black belt and a speaker. I teach all aspects of self-defense, from whether you're a single woman living alone or you're looking to keep your kids safe. And it's almost like, wouldn't you feel better knowing you'd know what to do if you got yourself in a bad situation? Also that all victims of sexual assault have one thing in common. They never thought it would happen to them and took no precautions or gave any thought to protecting themselves. And I also teach what is different is I teach from a woman's point of view. She made a comment before we started. She says, why you do what you do. 30 years ago, I lost a cousin to a brutal rape and murder, which has led me to where I am today. So I started taking self-defense classes. Nothing stuck because they were all male martial artists that were teaching it. So I got into karate to learn from the ground up. That was 20 years ago.
That's awesome.
Do you have questions?
First of all, I'm going to step away real quick and get a pen and paper because I want to go ahead and I was going to take it on my phone, but I don't think I could do it simultaneously. Well, you know what? I can. I just won't see your face for just a second. Okay, what's the name of it again?
Heads Up Self-Defense for Women.
Heads Up. Self-defense for women.
Right.
You've been in it for 20 years, right?
I've been training in karate for 20 years, yes.
Training in karate, and you're a 4th degree black belt?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm just taking notes while we're talking.
Sure.
20 years. Oh, I put 30 years.
Well, I've been, it's the psychological aspects. I've been 30,
Right.
but you stick with the 20.
Mm-hmm. And your main focus for your business is to help women feel empowered, and also you want to teach them from a women's perspective. You want to teach them how to defend themselves from a woman's perspective.
Exactly, from a woman who's been through it all. And yeah, I mean, normally men are teaching, and they've never been sexually assaulted. So I teach it from a woman's point of view.
Yeah. Okay.
This helps.
I do have a question. Do you have videos, or how do you coach the women you work with? Do you have videos? Like, you have a YouTube channel that you offer videos, or do you have in-person classes?
Yeah, well, in person once we get a handle on COVID.
Right.
So right now I'm doing Zoom.
Okay, so you're doing class. You're providing classes on Zoom. Okay.
Yes,
cool.
because that way I can talk it as well. Like I said, I do a lot of speaking, and I can talk it as well, and then show you how to an elbow. Yeah. So
right. Okay.
and other stuff. So yes, that's what Zoom has done for me.
And what is your main goal, or what is your ask for being in the women's mastermind? You know, what is your goal today, or your ask for today?
I guess likes on my Facebook page. I'm not sure how to handle the ask thing.
Well, the ask for when you're networking, the ask is basically, why did you tune in today? Why did you get on this call today? What was your
to learn from other amazing women, actually.
Well, what is your goal for your business too? I mean, yeah, that's definitely it. But what is your goal for your business too?
It is to reach more people, of course, but I want women to feel confident. I want them to feel safe. We're afraid when we go out and we don't know what to do if something should happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, awesome.
For sure.
So we're welcoming everybody back. Okay. Here they come. This is really cool. I love it. Thanks, ladies, for participating in that. And for those who hopped back into the main room early, what happened, so here's a lesson for anybody who wants to do breakout rooms for their Zooms, is I didn't create enough breakout rooms. So I didn't know where to send Debbie and Desi. So they stayed here to do the breakout session. So thank you, everybody. If you enjoyed that, you can do a hands up or a clapping on the screen. Oh, awesome. I love it. That's good. I love unanimous vote. So this is a lot of fun. What we're going to do next, if somebody just joined in, I see Drea joined in, so I've got her. But if anybody else just joined in the last minute or two, please just in the chat, let me know. And if you can mute yourself if you're not talking, that would be awesome. Just mute yourself so that way it makes it easier for me. Thank you. Not enough time. Okay. I love that. Kaya says not enough time. And I agree with you, Kaya. So here's the challenge, right? if we had only 30 seconds to introduce ourselves, really, I feel like it's just not as much of a connection that we can make. So again, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Actually, there, I got you. I just joined. Marianne. Okay, thank you, Marianne, for letting me know. That way I don't miss anybody. So what we're going to do now is we have the opportunity to introduce the other person. One thing I really love about this is edifying somebody else. Now think about in social media. I'm going to use social media as our example. You're in social media and you are doing something like, I just launched my book. Oh my gosh, you guys, we made bestseller in 6 hours on the book Momentum on Saturday. How cool is that? But guess what? When other people shared that Linda's book became a bestseller, so Hayla's in the book as well. Awesome. So Hayla, right? If somebody else said Linda's book, made bestseller, more people are going to listen. Because when we edify others, we immediately give them a boost. We give them a credibility boost. And that's one thing I love about you. I'm creating these collaboration books. Angie is going to be joining me in the Fearless Entrepreneurs. Actually, I'm not sure which one she's going to be joining me on, either the Fearless Entrepreneurs or Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. And then we have Amy Kaiser's here. She's in the Fearless Entrepreneurs, I believe. I have 2 going on right now, so it's hard for me to remember who's in which books. But it's really cool because I have an opportunity to edify the people in my books, while at the same time edifying my own book. But what I'm doing is I'm actually catapulting them because I'm going to go with them, right? So this is one thing I love about, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. What I love about this exercise, especially when we do it in person, it's even more powerful. You see tears and everything. I mean, it's amazing. So if you're going to have tears, that's okay. Share them. We're here. This is a judgment-free, safe zone. So Brenda, okay, Brenda's here. Brenda, we're going to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say the names. And remember, you're going to introduce the other person. Watch for Brenda. She's going to give you a 20-second warning, which means you have 10 seconds left to wrap it up. How can you edify somebody in 30 seconds? This is going to be an amazing exercise because it's going to have you see how you share other people. It's also going to be able to have you see how you can get to the point quickly. 30 seconds, right? This is unrehearsed. This is not your 30-second commercial. But so I'm going to start with Adria. You want to go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm
Adria. Adria. And she's going to be introducing Amy. So go for it and watch Brenda for your cues.
Yeah, so I met Amy Kaiser, who's amazing, and she is a massage therapist and Reiki master who specializes in female pelvic health, and she helps them heal from all sorts of disorders like incontinence and prolapse and endometriosis. And she has a podcast called Women's Pelvic Wellness, which is on iTunes every Wednesday. And she basically is just tired of women struggling silently with these issues. And so she helps to give them a voice and helps them heal.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. And it's Adria, is that correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I like to say people's names right, so thank you for that. So next up, we have Amy Kaiser is going to introduce Adria. So as you see, you're going to be the spotlight on the screen while they're introducing you.
We definitely had a connection. We're probably going to be best friends soon.
Obviously.
So Adria is a financial service professional with New York Life, and she's in LA, and she likes to help mostly women. And one of the things that she had mentioned was especially women who are divorced because their husband generally made all the financial decisions and now they get out and they don't know what to do. So she helps create a safe space for them so that they can find a purpose and a plan of action in moving forward. So I love that purpose and a plan aspect of it.
You did great. I was so caught up with what you were saying, Amy, that I forgot the time.
Oh, that's okay.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. So did you like the exercise doing that?
I loved it. I thought
It was great.
Cool. I'm shooting for testimonials, by the way, so I'll be asking everybody. Okay, so next up we have the team of Rosa and Sohaila. And Sohaila, you're going to introduce Rosa, and then Rosa, I'll need you to show your videos so that I can spotlight you.
Yep, and real quick, before you start, a couple things. When you're done speaking, please remember to remute yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody else was asking the question. Once you're done sharing about the other person, please do feel free to put your contact information in the chat. So your email, your social media information, put all of that in the chat so folks can follow up with you.
Okay, sounds good. Hello, everyone. Okay, so Rosa Rodriguez Bloom is from Mexico City, and she is actually exploring the entrepreneur world. So that's why she's here, and it's so cool. She's literally a bundle of joy to talk to. She wants to open her own business, and she wants to do with automated machine like robots to help businesses keep their life and time on their terms, right? And so it's for minimizing the time for their people. It's for food, like making bread or coffee.
Thank you, Sohaila.
Awesome. And Rosa is also one of the authors in Invisible No More, Invincible Forevermore. Woo, woo.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks, Sohaila. So Rosa, you are now going to introduce Sohaila.
Yes. So Hayla she's a belly dancer, and also she is using her belly dancing experience to educate all the other belly dancers and to use their belly dancing experiences and career for them to become entrepreneurs. And she's educating these women to so they can start their own business, if I understood correctly. And she has her own platform where all these women can come to her and get more information regarding her own business.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosa. And Sohaila is putting on the CEO Business Summit, of which I'm going to be one of the speakers. Yeah. So Sohaila, go ahead and drop the link there. I think the ticket's only $1 right now, right? Until the end of this month or something. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, it's only $1 until September 1st. So get in there,
Yes.
guys. We have 12 amazing world-renowned speakers. So
thank you so much. So next up is the team of Amy and Angie. So Angie, you introduce Amy Thompson first. I can find you.
Okay, I'm introducing Amy Thompson, a wonderful woman from Niagara Falls in Canada. Amy is a CEO of Where Dream Connects, an online connection program where she's looking to help people and see their dreams fulfilled. She also does spiritual counseling, and she has 2 children of her own and 2 stepchildren. It takes a very strong woman to be a stepmother. Well done, Amy. Thank you so much, and you're doing well. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you so much. So Amy, you're going to introduce Angie.
Hello, this is Angelica Waite. She's from Kenya, and she's a mother of 2. She's a travel agent with more than 30 years experience, and she loves helping people's dreams come true. She likes to take the stress off of people. And she also does not spiritual counseling, but she does counseling in her church. She's very connected. Marriage is important to her, and family is important to her, and she just loves to see people happy.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So next up, we have a team of Brigetti and Cynthia. So Cynthia, introduce Brigetti.
Oh, unmute, Cynthia.
Yeah, I do. Hi,
Okay.
everybody. I was so lucky to be paired with Brigetti Limbonda, and she's based in Cape Town, South Africa. And she is a very experienced video producer. And then a few years ago, she encountered some health hiccups, and she needed to have a more flexible work. So she shifted from being a producer behind the camera, and she took the leap out of her comfort zone and got in front of the camera and taught herself how to be a TV host and an interviewer. And what also helped her catapult her into being in front of the camera was a water crisis in her region. And
And we're out of time.
Out of
sorry.
time.
Sorry. I lost Brenda, sorry. With
Oh
the
yeah, I lost her too. I don't know where she went, and I don't know how to make her stay at the top. Is there a way, Brenda, to make you stay at the top? Let's see if I pin
I
you.
think that when you pin a person,
Or
then
you make them a host also, they stay at the top.
all the
Yeah,
players.
I wasn't able to make her a host. So okay, so so if you can look for Brenda somehow, or she'll shout out. So but thank you. And Brigitte, and first of all, Brigitte, I had no idea that that was out of your comfort zone because you are a natural on camera. So awesome. So now we're going to spotlight Cynthia. Brigitte, go ahead and introduce Cynthia.
If you're a woman out there and you are enjoying what you're doing, but you feel that you're not earning your worth, then Cynthia Trevino is somebody that you want to connect with. Cynthia is in California in the USA, and she is very passionate about helping women earn what they're worth. And so she works with women that are super good at what they do, but they're not getting rewarded for it. And she's also an author, and a phenomenal author. She's written a book called She Markets, and you want to connect with her to get that book because it empowers you to market yourself and earn your worth.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So next up, we have the team of Debbie and Desi. And so Desi, go ahead and introduce Debbie. Desi, are you there? Is she there?
She's muted. I know she's see her muted.
Desi, okay, I'm going to go to a different team then. I want to keep on moving. So Desi, let me know when you're available to be unmuted. Next up, we have Karen and Kaya. Karen and Kaya. And so I'm going to have, let's see, we got, okay, Karen, go ahead and introduce Kaya. Did I say it right?
Absolutely. Kaya Carmack, she is from Portland, Oregon. A bundle of energy, first of all, I have to say that. Her tagline is, she is an epic advisor for an epic life. Her best client is someone over 50, successful, forward thinking, but just feels like a failure. What she does is she just clears out all the crud in their life to clear it all out so they can feel successful again. And they can, she removes all the obstacles so they feel like what they have done is worth it and worth moving forward. So that's Kaya Carmack from Portland, Oregon.
Thank you so much. Awesome. I love it. And then Kaya, go ahead and introduce Cario, or we like to call her Cario, but we'll call her Karen.
It's Karen.
I told her that was her new nickname. Karen Buellerman. She's a 20-year mortgage broker. And I love talking to her because she's so enthusiastic about helping people find that thing that they've been striving for, being able to afford a house. And I loved what she said. She said, being able to claim a piece of the rock just lights her up and makes her happy to see someone be able to feel financially stable and take ownership of something that feels so good. It's just like a dream come true for her and them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have the team of Kim and Jodi. So Kim, if you want to introduce Jodi. There we go. Oh, you're muted. I'm sure you're saying something absolutely amazing. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Jodi Kodesh is from California. She did work with NBC in California for 11 years. That position ended 2 years ago, and now she is fully sponsored, working daily, providing me daily forecasts from her home. Her job is her passion. She enjoys doing it. She is married, has been married for 26 years. She has 2 boys, ages 8 and 14, and she's addicted to social media, and she likes to teach the weather and weather forecasting in very creative ways on social media. And
Awesome,
she's a beautiful young lady. So there we go.
30 seconds goes fast, doesn't it, ladies?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Thank you. And I love how she has the clouds behind her because, like, you know, what she does, like, perfect, right? So Jodi, go ahead and introduce Kim.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Kim Langley. She is a freelance writer and author out of Pennsylvania. 16 years a writer, and she's published as well. She wrote something called Snapshot, which is an anthology of veterans' stories. She's on a radio show 2 times a week talking about veterans issues. She is a veteran. She is currently writing a really cool, I thought this was amazing, series of faith-based books. And they're called, or I will say the first is called When Grace Found Me. It's real life women sharing their journey of faith. And one thing that she said that really stood out to me is she said, there's someone out there waiting for that pinprick of light and they just don't know where to look. And that's what she's working on.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Marianne Lindsay. You're going to introduce yourself because we didn't get you a chance to break out with somebody. So you got 30 seconds to introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Marianne Lindsay. I'm in San Diego, California. I have 2 businesses, working on a third. My first business is I've been a professional income tax preparer for 30 years. I've had my own business for 23 years. I specialize in sole proprietors, especially new people that don't know how the tax part works in their entrepreneurial journey. I also have an essential oil business, and I'm starting a mastermind, kind of like a mastermind accountability group for people to start getting their business records together so that it's not a surprise at the end of the year.
I'm super excited about her doing that. So I've been talking to her about it for like a year. So, yes.
So this is my coming out party.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, so next up we have our team of Marnie and Roseanne. So Roseanne, if you're able to unmute yourself and go ahead and introduce Marnie. By the way, that was my mom's nickname.
I have the great pleasure to introduce Marty Tandon, who is supposedly retired and lives in Palm Springs. However, she has 3 businesses: web design at InSync Social Media, giving voice to dogs through their leashes at Smart Paws on Etsy, and she's a fine artist. Her website is in her own name, Marnie Tandon. So really, she is uniquely giving voice to you, your business, your dogs, and to nature in a unique and creative way that is colorful and a little bit abstract and beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So next up then we have Marnie introducing Roseanne. I don't have your video, Roseanne, so
Sorry,
Marnie, you'll
I don't
be
have
on the
the
screen.
bandwidth today.
Okay, so Roseanne, you're on the screen introducing Marnie.
Okay. Roseanne's a very fascinating lady. She has talents that most of us don't have, and she's psychic, and she finally figured out how to turn that into a real business. She's a business psychic, and she works with people in transformation. She works with entrepreneurs, goals, and sets actions for them. She has her own expansion consciousness game. She has a journal, Consciousness Evolution Journal, and she does all this from Alberta, Canada. And she's quite an amazing person. I think she's not just a business psychic, she's also a business coach.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. And I see your dog is back there with his paws.
One of my dogs.
Okay, so next up, we're going to invite Latara. Latara wasn't able to participate in the breakout, but Latara, are you available to unmute yourself and introduce yourself? I see I don't have any video on. There you go. Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't have a video on this computer, but thank you so much for giving me this time. I was kind of really sad that I couldn't do the interview kind of project that you got going on over here, because this is exactly what I'm going to be doing on a masterclass that's coming up in a week, because I'm going to be hosting Samadhi, Sea of Wisdom, and you could see more about it on mastermind.com, and then search self-transformation meditation. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here today. Attending without the video works well as well. Thank you. So next up, we have Maria and Melody. So Maria, let's see, Melody, or Maria, if you could introduce Melody, and then Maria, I'm going to ask you to unmute your video. So Maria, go ahead and introduce Melody. Okay, Hey, Maria, you're muted. Let me see here. This is the fun part, being behind the scenes, running it all.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. Hi, Maria.
Okay. Hi. I was so glad to meet Melody Donovan. She's from Indiana. Her professional career was in IT. She is a sales consultant. She sells self-defense products for women. She's also a part-time event coordinator for women entrepreneurs. And she's a financial coach, which she barely finished her training. So I was glad to meet her.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. Great introduction.
Thank you so much. So Melody, you're going to introduce Maria. I just met a girl named Maria. Couldn't help myself, sorry.
Hi. This is Maria, and she was born in Mexico, but she moved to Texas when she was 12. She sells gemstones and beads and Native American jewelry that she makes. She also helps with publicity on some events in her area. One of her goals is to write a book about her life in her journey from Mexico to Texas and everything in between. She has 3 beautiful girls that she seems to be very proud of, and that she also is very much a person that empowers women.
Awesome. Great job.
Thank you so much. Okay, next up we have Desi and Debbie. And so Debbie, you want to introduce Desi? There she is. She's in Starbucks again.
Desi is a teacher entrepreneur. I think I got that right. She teaches for 4 to 5-year-olds. She is an entrepreneur. She's an inventor. She recently filed a patent, which is very cool. She has a creative mind for new ideas. She's beginning to dabble in speaking, and she's expanding her personal development and being a business coach. Her ask today is to search for contacts to license her product. So if anybody out there knows someone,
awesome,
talk to Desi.
Thank you so much. And then Desi, you want to introduce Debbie?
Sure thing. Ladies, do you want to feel safer? Do you want to be taught by somebody who has over 20 years of experience in learning karate and also teaching? Then you need to meet my friend Debbie Love, because she has heads up self-defense, and she will help you. She will teach you from a woman's point of view, and she already has been down the road, so she has a lot of experience. She's currently, everybody, streaming classes on Zoom, so sign up with my friend Debbie Love, Heads Up Self-Defense.
Awesome, beautiful. Debbie is a 4th degree black belt, right?
Yes, 4th degree black belt. Yes, she is.
Yeah, Debbie, take notes of that 30 seconds, because that was your 30 seconds.
You know, couldn't have done any better.
Thank you so much.
Make sure you mute yourself if you're not. Be sure to mute yourself.
No se lo hemos cambiado desde que lo compramos.
Okay, I got who that is.
Pero no hemos tenido problemas para correrlo.
There we go. I think I just muted everybody. Okay, so next up, Drea, are you able to unmute yourself? I'll give you like 2 seconds to respond. Oh, that was a radio commercial. Yeah, exactly. That was a radio commercial. Desi, awesome job. Maybe you can create radio commercials for people. So Drea, are you able to unmute yourself? If not, I'm going to move forward. You're volunteering. Okay, awesome. Volunteering to unmute yourself or volunteering somewhere else. Okay, let's move on with the show, because I like to call it a show. I think it's a lot more fun that way. So thank you, ladies, so much. If you enjoyed that, please do something like go like this or something so I can get a great picture. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, what we're going to do next is, first of all, I want you to make sure that you just pay attention to that. It's so important to realize that when we lift others up, we also lift ourselves up at the same time. And what this does also is it gives credibility. We see something and hear something that they don't see and hear themselves. I'll give a great example. When I was interviewing the president of Mexico himself, Vicente Fox, I was like, first of all, oh my God, this is my Barbara Walters moment. I felt like this was just something that I never ever imagined would happen in my life. So as I was interviewing him, I went in there with this idea of what I was going to talk to him about. I never write out questions because I want to remain curious. So as I was interviewing him, something came up and I was like, oh, that is really something he's passionate about. I was listening to him. When we listen, it's our best skill that we have as human beings. No animals on earth can listen to people and then be able to regurgitate what they said in a better way than they said it. I'll share like, not that she did it better, Debbie, but Desi did an amazing job on your 30-second commercial. See, now you can take what she said because she heard stuff that you don't even know you're saying because you say it all the time. It's your regular everyday communication. You don't realize how valuable it is until somebody else shares that for you. So this exercise is really meant to be able to listen to others and then be able to share who they are with the world. So thank you so much for participating in that. I love that exercise. And when we go in person again, we will be doing that.
Somebody mentioned that Deb is still showing up as highlighted.
Oh, she is? Because on mine, she's not. Interesting. Is she for anybody else? We'll see everyone. Awesome. So Hayla, thank you for, so she's showing us, I wonder why that is. Anybody have any idea?
You can change that yourself, Kim. You can unhighlight, or you can just go to the upper right-hand corner and change your settings there.
See if that works, because for me, I see everybody on the screen, or there's a button that says speaker view, maybe clicking on that. I'm not sure what's going on. But also everybody go ahead and drop your social media links, you know, your website links or what have you inside the chat so that we can connect with each other. And so now we're going to move to the next part of our show where we've got 34 minutes left. So Brenda, I would love for you to introduce yourself. And I'm going to introduce Brenda. I met Brenda about 6-7 years ago at a networking event, and we didn't really get to know each other until about 3 years later, where we really had an opportunity to volunteer with each other. Here's the beauty of volunteer work for those of you who don't do it and you who aren't sure like why you would want to volunteer. One reason is you get to meet people who are like minds with you. So it's really a great opportunity to do that. So what we're going to do, I know only 30 minutes left, right? It's like, this is crazy.
If we, our speaker is on for how long, Linda?
35 minutes. So
yeah,
you get.
So let's do this because I want to honor our special speaker. I'll do a quick introduction of myself.
Yes.
And then we'll just turn it right over to her, and then I can speak the following week. How's that sound?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So Brenda Geary, I'm absolutely passionate about health and wellness. My background's corporate America. I was a VP of Human Resources for almost 20 years. I absolutely loved what I did. And I actually worked at NBC. I was the VP of HR for NBC in Chicago for about 3 or 4 years. Loved what I did, and then came to San Diego. But here's the thing, guys. Sometimes life happens, and sometimes life throws a twist. And that twist for me came in 2004 when I got sick. And I got really, really, really sick. And then for the next 10 years, I lived with chronic pain. I had a number of autoimmune issues. And then I was diagnosed with cancer. So I found my passion because of my health journey. And so now what I do is I focus on helping people to maximize their wellness. I'm passionate about helping people to maintain their wellness, and I'm passionate about helping people who have chronic illness, who have those invisible illnesses, to get their health back. And you're going to learn more about that in 2 weeks. So make sure you plug on in.
Teaser. We love the teasers. Awesome. And the product that Brenda works with, LifeVantage, is absolutely amazing. So please tune in 2 weeks. We'll have another speaker as well, but then, Brenda, we're going to give her a spot. And this exercise took longer than I thought it would. Because again, originally I had 6 people signed up. So this exercise was going to be really fast. So I'm really grateful that you've all, shown up today and just giving this opportunity to, to switch it up and do something different, and which is one thing I love doing. So I'm going to introduce our speaker is Miss Jodi Kodesh. I met Jodi online, actually. It's the power of networking. She's a social media buff. I'm a social media buff, it's kind of like crack, we just can't get off of it, and it's okay though, as long as you're not using it like all night long. Well, okay, I used to do that. I don't do that anymore. I'm a recovered social media addict. But I met Jodi online, and I think originally it might have been on LinkedIn, which I just started using more recently. And I've seen Jodi on the TV all the time. And here's the thing is oftentimes, I don't know about you ladies, but oftentimes I have this feeling that, oh, they're never going to talk to me. Why would they communicate with me? But she responded to my message. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm talking to Jodi Kodesh. Like I got all starstruck and everything, I must admit. And because she's so amazing. I love her personality. And so I asked her if she would speak at our event. And this was right before coronavirus. Remember, Jodi?
I remember.
Yep. I asked her, and she was going to be speaking, I think, at the first event that was right after the orders to shut down the world. So we couldn't do it, So then we shifted to this online platform, and we were able to make it work. So here we are today. I'd like to introduce to you our guest speaker, Jodi Kodesh of NBC7. She's no longer there, and she's going to tell you the story of how this has amazingly changed her life.
It has. Linda, thank you so much for asking me to do this. It's always fun to share my story, and I think it's because so many people, especially if you're from San Diego, and I know women are from everywhere, here, but if you are local, one day I was on TV, the next day I wasn't, and I have so many social media followers that I was kind of asked by everyone all at once, what happened? What went wrong? Where'd you go? And it was kind of like a big deal to me, and it was unforeseen by me. It was unforeseen by many of my followers. And so when I tell my story, I think a lot of people are shocked that my story really has very little to do with NBC and a lot to do with how I got there and what I've done in my life and what I'm doing now. So one time I just was asked to speak for an organization, and I told my story. It took like an hour and 10 minutes because they'd given me a really long window to fill. And at the end, everybody was saying, well, how come I didn't know these things about you? Or I didn't know this is how you got there, or this is what you had done. And so when Linda said, would you like to be a speaker? I'm like, yes, let's do it again. I want to see, if this might help or resonate with anybody. And I'm a meteorologist, a certified meteorologist, but I wasn't always that. I wasn't always aware that I could do that job or I could get to where I wanted to be. So because I don't have that hour that it took to really dive in, I want to just kind of go fast through some parts and then focus on the parts that I think you might enjoy. So yes, I'm a certified meteorologist. I started falling in love with weather at the age of 6. I would just look up at the clouds and try to make shapes, It was very basic. I just loved a blue sky with white, big, puffy clouds. And I would read weather books. And I was from a very poor family. We were poor, very poor. And we basically lived in San Bernardino, California, which is about an hour and a half north of San Diego. We lived, the 4 of us, my mom, dad, and my brother, myself, in a 1-bedroom, I would call it maybe more like a shed than a house, but it was behind my grandmother's house, and that's where I grew up. One thing there was down the street was a library, a public library, and so I basically lived there. It was my babysitter. I would go there by myself, and I would read weather book after weather book after weather book, and I just really grew to know a lot about it at a young age. I never once thought that I wanted to be the weather person because growing up in San Bernardino, my mom would watch the news every day. Every morning she would watch the news. And at that time, it was riddled with crime, a lot of gang activity. There was shootings everywhere, and it was not a good thing watching the news. The only good thing that would come of it was the weather portion. The weather person would come on, and I would see this man named Fritz Coleman. He would come on, and he had the best personality, and he'd be like, today's weather. And I just would love it when it would show on the 5-day forecast at the time. It would show that there was going to be rain, because that's all I ever read about and wanted. So I would look at that weather forecast every day, and that was all I would watch. And then I never thought I could be that person, though it seemed like a dream job. That would be the funnest job in the whole world. But I came from a very traditional family that was you go to school, you go to middle school, high school, you get a job, you get that job at maybe the grocery store, and you work your way up trying to be a manager there, and you get good benefits, and then you work there for 30 years, and that's your job. And so nobody in my family ever went to college. It was never really spoken about, although because I grew up in that library, reading so much and experiencing so much through books, I think I wanted better for myself. And so I would go to school and get straight A's. I would work so hard, and reading really made me a lot smarter than my peers. Like I really was very intelligent at a young age. So for elementary and middle and high school, I got straight A's. I graduated with like a 4.5 in high school because I took honors courses. And I thought that was going to get me into any college I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to Harvard, Columbia. I wanted to go to an Ivy League. Then again, my parents were never like, you need to go to college. And I think, and one thing I didn't mention is that I'm Mexican Italian. I have I've been raised culturally Mexican. So I think culturally, my mom didn't push me so much to go to college. She was very much wanting me to stay home, to be close to home, not leave, and I had to say, I kind of want to go to a big college, and I applied to Boston University to go to their television, film, and radio production course semester to get into that program. And I got in. However, I didn't get a lot of financial aid like you would think you would get. Like you would think I'd get like a free ride, but I didn't. And my parents didn't have that much money, and my dad tried really hard. And so I got in my first semester there, and I left right after graduation. I went to start summer there. They had a summer semester. And I started, and I was in love with it. And I got there, and I couldn't believe I was doing this. It was such a culture shock, landing in Boston. And I go to my first day of class, and I sat down. I was nervous. I thought maybe, just maybe, like this is meant to be where maybe I could get on TV. I've never told anybody that's what I wanted to do, but maybe this is like my first little secret step, And the teacher comes in, this professor, older white guy, balding. He walks in, he's really like strict looking, and he goes, raise your hand if you want to be on camera. You're here because you want to be a television personality on camera. And there were several people that were like, me, and I was sitting there like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna sit here and listen. And he goes, well, there are 4 million people in the world right now vying for a handful of jobs on TV. So if that's what you're here for, I got bad news for you. You better have a backup plan, and you better start learning behind the scenes, like writing or camera work. And instantly in that one moment, it just shot all of my dreams out the door. I was like, yeah, you can't do that. Like that's impossible. What were you thinking, Jodi? And I did my best, and I got straight A's there, and I learned how to run a camera, and I learned how to write, and I did my best. But what happened was one day I got a phone call, and my parents had filed for bankruptcy. They were doing really, really bad. My dad got let go from his job, and my mom said, I don't know what we're going to do, Mija. You're going to have to come home, because I couldn't afford to stay there, and I couldn't get the money that I needed to be able to stay. And it was heartbreaking. Like, it kills me to even say it now, because it was one of those moments where you're like, no, but I did everything right. Like, I got a 4.5. I kicked butt. I did everything, and I missed my parents. So I came home, but it was like, I was angry. I think I was angry with the world. Like, somebody like me that worked so hard, that came from that, should have been handed that. I should have been given that, and I didn't. And when I came home, it was like, you not only are you coming home, you got to get a job. You have to get a job, because if you want a car to drive around or extra food or extra thing, you got to get a job. And so I enrolled in Cal State San Bernardino, which to me, which is a great school, but like to me at the time, it was like, you're here, you're going to school down the street from your house where you grew up. That's what you worked so hard for. But I enrolled at Cal State San Bernardino because I had already missed the deadline to apply to other schools. And I signed up that day, and I got into classes. I went and got I needed to find a job, right? So here's what happened. I looked in the paper, and I saw that the Colton Courier, which it was the local newspaper, was hiring for a receptionist. And I thought, okay, I could do that. I can get my foot in the door there. And I had been on my high school newspaper. So I was like, let's just go apply there. And I had known from reading and just being around my counselor that you got to come prepared with your little resume and what you've done and your activities. And I had been on the cheerleading squad and different classes. So I put together a resume. I got some of my sample articles that I had written from the newspaper. I put it in a little notebook. I, got my file together, and I got an interview for the receptionist position. I drove myself there by myself. I went in, and I sat down. And it was really funny, because the receptionist at the time, the girl who greeted me, said, hi, are you Jodi? I said, yeah. And she's like, 1 minute. Bill's going to come out and get you in a second. He was the owner of the paper. So Bill comes out and he says, "Hi, Jodi, right this way." And it was very intimidating, you know, tall, big, tall man. And I follow him in and he sits down and he goes, "So why do you want to work here?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I've always wanted to be a writer." Now, truthfully, I'd always wanted to be the weather person, but I was saying writer because I had learned from my professor at Boston University that that was not really going to happen. So I was like, I've always wanted to be a writer and I think I'm pretty good at it. Love reading, think I can do this, blah, blah, blah. So he looks at my resume and he's like looking, and then he starts reading. He says this, he said, "Do you have samples of your work?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, thank God I brought those samples. Like, what if I wouldn't have brought those, you know?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I totally have samples." I hand him and he starts reading and he goes, "You have a very unique style. It's very honest. Like, this is good stuff. I like what I'm reading." And he's looking at it and I'm kind of happy, like maybe this is going to happen. So we talk for a little bit longer. He gets up and he walks out of the room. I'm waiting thinking like, is he going to tell me now? Is he going to say, "Sorry, come back"? And this is the first time I had ever been like interviewed for a job. So he comes back in and he goes, "Miss Jodi, why didn't you tell me you were here for the receptionist position?" And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "I thought you were here for the reporter position." Apparently there was a reporter position also open and that person hadn't showed up on time for their interview. So they thought it was me and they had called me in and he was interviewing me to be a reporter. That's why he was asking for my samples of my work, not as the receptionist. He sat down longer, talked to me for about a half an hour. And at the end of that interview, he said, "I'm just going to go with my heart. I have a feeling about you and I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to hire you to be a reporter for our paper," which was crazy. It's crazy, right? It was crazy. It's because I was from Colton. That's where I was from. And here I am, this little paper that my family's been reading forever. I'm going to write for that paper. And I had to go home and tell my mom and dad, like, I got a job as a writer for a newspaper. Shocked, could not believe it. And my mom's like, "See, Mia, it was meant to be. You were meant to come home. Like, that's why you're here. You got a job as a paper." Okay, whatever, you know. So I go and I start at Cal State San Bernardino. Now, granted, I'm going to school. I'm also working at a newspaper. And it was like full time. I was working long hours. And I see, as I'm walking through campus, this is important. It's going to seem fickle, but it's important. I hear, as I'm walking through on like the first day of school, this big eruption of guys, like frat guys. And I hear them going, "Hey, what's up?" And I see this guy walk through the door and they're all happy to see him. And he's got this huge smile on his face. And when I looked over him, I thought, that boy just looks really friendly. He had a huge, perfect smile. Like his teeth were perfect. And I looked over and I kept walking, but he caught my eye. And I wasn't one to ever notice guys. Like I was not one to talk to guys. I was very strict parents. I'd never had a boyfriend. And about 2 days later, I noticed that same guy again, like walking by, and he just always had this huge smile on his face. And I would tell my best friend who happened to go to that school, I said, "Oh, I saw my husband again today." I would joke and say, "I saw my husband again today." And then my other best friend that was there would say, "Jodi, I have your husband in my math class and he is so smart. Like he doesn't even use a calculator and he answers questions." And we started for a whole year calling this guy my husband, who I had no idea who he was. And it was about maybe about a year and a month in to going to college there and working as a reporter. I was at a party and I never went to parties, but it was one of my first parties I was ever allowed to go to. And I was there and there were these three guys who were saying, "Who's this new girl here? You know, who is this new girl that I've never seen before?" And they're trying to talk to me. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, my husband comes walking up and he goes, "Are they bothering you? Gosh, leave her alone. Like, leave the poor girl alone." He goes, "Hi, my name's Mark." And he shakes my hand. And we started talking. And he said, "You're a reporter? Like a real reporter?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a small newspaper." But at that point, I had already worked my way up to editor of the paper. I was now the editor of 3 newspapers, which was El Chicano, Colton Courier, and Rialto Record. They were 3 like weekly newspapers, and I was the editor at the time. And my husband was like, "I'm so impressed. I've never met a girl that's like had this much already when she's in college," and ended up being really to my favor. Like it was great. I was very impressed with how he was able to talk very well and speak very well. And we have been together ever since. Like we're still together now. I was 18. He was my first boyfriend and he's upstairs. So why this is important, I'll tell you. That's a very important part of the story because When I worked my way up in the newspaper business, I eventually got hired by Riverside, the Press Enterprise, which is a daily newspaper, and they're still big now. And I got hired and I worked my way up there too. And I was a head of features at the Press Enterprise. A lot of people think I just do weather. They thought I got hired as a weather person at NBC. I actually have a journalism background. I went to school at Cal State for communications, and then when we were graduated, we moved to Palm Springs. I quit my job in the paper because my husband was running a huge business out in Palm Springs. So we lived in Rancho Mirage, and I was there for a couple years, and I was like a real housewife. I just laid out in the backyard and tanned. I did nothing. I didn't work. I was like, I'm done. My life is finally complete. I don't have to bust my butt so much. He was working hard, and after about like a couple years there and us being married, we decided to start a family. So we took a trip to New York where we were gonna go on this like 10-day trip to New York to have a baby making trip. We're all adults here. These are women in this group. So I'm just gonna say, we decided to make a baby making trip to New York. It's gonna be perfect. We were gonna fly in a helicopter. It's gonna be all roses and beautiful. And when I got there, I realized, wait a minute. The one thing, you could come home from this trip pregnant. Like the one thing that you've always wanted to do your whole life, you've never ever really voiced out loud or told anyone. So you could come back pregnant and have a baby, a child that you're gonna raise and say you can be anything you ever wanted to be, but I never tried to be what I wanted to be. That's kind of weird. And I started feeling this like some type of way there. I actually started crying. My husband said, what's wrong? I said, I just realized like the one thing I've always wanted to do, I never tried. He goes, what? Like, what have you always wanted to do that you never tried? And it sounds funny now, but I seriously like ugly cried and was like, I've always wanted to be the weather person. And he goes, huh? Like, what? The weather person on TV? And they go, yeah. And he goes, that's so funny. Why have you never said that? I said, because, it's impossible. There's 4 million people. They're vying for a handful of jobs. My professor 10 years ago told me that, and he goes, Jodi, it's so funny because I've always thought you were a waste of talent. Like you can connect with people and talk with people, but you are just not going to do anything. Like I'm okay with you pursuing that. Let's wait. We don't need to have a baby. Like what does it take to do it though, Jodi? Now, Mark is from a different family. He's from a family that they were go-getters. They did things. They were like, what do you want to do? Let's make it happen. Because they had money. So they knew whatever they wanted, they could make it happen. His parents were a little different. So he said, let's make a list. What does it take to become a meteorologist? And then I said, okay, well, I don't know. We went downstairs because at the time, granted, this is like 20 years ago, we went downstairs to like the business center at the hotel and we Googled it, how to become a meteorologist. And there was this 100-page book that this woman wrote that was like, how to become a meteorologist. I read it all in one night there. And it said you had to get an internship was the quickest way in the door, go to school to become a meteorologist. And then it said to like write a letter to your local TV stations. So while I was there and on the plane ride home, I wrote hand wrote, because back then it wasn't so much email, all these letters to 6 stations where in Palm Springs, the TV stations there. And I got a call back from like 4 of them at the time. And one call in particular was a news station at the time, and it was called CBS 2 in Palm Springs. And this lady, Erin, who was the news director, said, Jodi, I want to ask you, did you write this letter? Like, did you write it yourself? Because if you wrote this letter yourself, I want you to come be an intern here. And I was like, of course I wrote it. I think she thought it was so heartfelt and so different that I had like ripped it off the internet or something. I don't know. But I said, yes, I wrote it. And so I got an internship in Palm Springs at CBS 2. I had to enroll in school again for meteorology to even get that internship. So it was like that night I was getting my transcripts, getting back on. And it's strange because 3 months later, I had a major change and it was awesome. What happened was I was being an intern. I was going every day. I was working for free. I was showing up early and staying way late. And I absorbed everything I could. Show me how to work the computer. How do you work the graphics? Like, doing all of this work because I thought I have to catch up now. Like I was already going to be almost 30. I had some catching up to do, And what happened was the weekend weather girl got fired, right? And it was like a big thing, like doors slammed, she was out, and it was a big to do. And they were all upset because they're saying, what are we going to do? We're going into Christmas. We don't have anybody to fill in, but we have a bunch of people going on vacation. And I was like, maybe I could do it. And they said, we have a policy where we don't hire interns because you have to have previous experience as a weather person on TV. Well, because I had shown so much just diligence and been going and just doing and learning, one by one, my coworkers would go into that office and fight for me and say, you really should give her a chance. Like, you really should give her a chance. Like, the girl's been here for free for 3 months, every day, even on weekends. And they did. They said, we're going to let you audition, but you have to. And it was the scariest thing I had ever done in my life. I'd never been on the weather wall. The chief meteorologist there was trying to help me. It was like, do this, do that. And they would look at my videos and they'd be like, okay, she needs to cut her hair a little. Okay, yeah, she needs to wear a different suit. She needs to do, and they would tweak it. And about a month later, I get this call into the newsroom. And when I walked in, there was all of the employees, and they said, we're going to give Jodi the weekend weather job. And I was just like blown away. Like, I really didn't think it was going to happen because there had been people with all of this experience that had more years on TV than me. But it was like all that preparation once again had resulted in just a massive stroke of luck. I hate calling it luck because it really was preparation, but just like me having those papers in order for that job at the newspaper, it worked out. So I, was in school and already on air 3 months after I decided I want to be a weather person. Is that crazy? Like, just nuts, right? How you think something is so hard and unattainable. And I even thought that time had passed me by because, I was already older. There's 20-year-olds coming in and I was already like 30. And I thought it is really just boils down to making a list and going for it. Like, what is it you need to do to get it done, and do it? So I was at Mississippi State, going to Mississippi State online in conjunction with Cal State in Palm Springs, and I was completing my meteorology degree. Because I was really taking classes there, I would have to go there and travel there a lot. And I was at Mississippi State graduating. This was my graduation day. I was going to become a meteorologist, and this was a pivotal point. I was in the quad area. My husband was taking pictures of me. It was just me by myself. My parents couldn't make it. They were watching my little baby at home. And so it was just me and my husband. He was taking pictures and my cell phone rang. And I thought it was somebody from back in California calling to congratulate me on becoming a meteorologist. When I answered the phone, because I didn't recognize the number, he said, "Hi, Jodi, this is Greg Dawson from NBC 7 San Diego. What do I have to do to get you on my team?" And it was so weird because it was the day I became a meteorologist, the day in my cap and gown. And I'm thinking, yay, I'm a meteorologist now in Palm Springs. And I get this random call from a way bigger market while I'm in. He said, "What do I have to do to get you on my team?" I said, nothing. Like, I'll be there. When? And because you only had one way to go, I couldn't stay weekends forever. And the meteorologists there were already stuck in their spots. So I'm like, give me 2 weeks. So everybody in Palm Springs was really happy for me and supportive. The bosses there were like, if you ever want to come back, like, you've been phenomenal. So 2 weeks later, packed up my bags and I moved to San Diego. My husband was able to run his company from here. We moved to San Diego. I worked for 11 years here at NBC San Diego. My life here and what it was like. Can I ask how much time I have left?
Yes.
Yep. You are at 21 minutes.
Okay, so I have
5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
5 minutes. Okay. All right. So let me tell you what my life was like really quick. And I'm going to speak fast. I would wake up at about 1:30 in the morning, my alarm. I would be out the door by like 2:15. I would be at work by like 2:30, and like shortly after 3 o'clock in the morning, I recorded my first commercial in the morning that would air during the Today Show. So I would be like, have to move. And it was such a strange, taxing schedule. I mean, what it would do to your mind, soul, and body, that schedule was so hard. Your circadian rhythm just being up in the dark. And then you'd work all the way through like noon, get off, drive home, eat lunch. And by 1, 2, you're so exhausted. But then I was a mother of 2 boys. So at that point, I have to go pick them up from school. And then I would help with homework and cook. And I really did a doozy. I should not have done. That was just too much. It was too much. And I did it for 11 years and it was very, very difficult. I loved my job. I love weather. And I would get a lot of my relief from just interaction on social media. So I would hear it from people like, "Oh, I love the way you do this." And I would kind of give you that fuel, like, yes, this is great, And I really did a good job there. I feel like I just couldn't have been a better employee. I got along good with everybody there. I took great instruction. I always went over and above. I trained everybody that's ever done weather there since I've been there. I've made every weather graphic that you see because I'm the graphics person. So when you see the weather graphics on there now, I made them. You name it, I did it. Well, about 2 years ago, I got a call in, and I was just finished a show. We're #1 in the market. You know, everything was going fabulous. And my boss says, not my boss, but just like my supervisor, my producer said, "Hey, Jodi, you got a minute?" And I said, "Sure." And I'm walking behind him, and I noticed he starts walking up the stairs instead of like toward where our typical meeting room was. And we go toward this office, and I started kind of feeling weird because he wasn't turning his face to me. He was like, just like back to me. And I thought, that's awkward. Normally he would talk to me going up the stairs. And then he kind of opened the door. And when I looked into the room, I see this big, long, wooden table, just straight out of the movies, you guys. I mean, like, no joke. It was like cliche almost. And I saw my boss, the general manager, and the HR lady sitting down, looking at me. I see a chair, an empty chair, and I see a box of tissues and a bottle of water in front of it. That's what I saw, a box of tissue and a bottle of water. When I walk in, instantly, and even telling the story right now, my mouth got so dry. My hands started to kind of shake. And I thought to myself, this is what I thought, they're not gonna let me go because they just gave me all these big projects last week. They had me working on all these really big projects last week that I stayed late for and completed. And I even trained people last week. Like, I've done so much. I thought that was like job security, when really it was just getting those projects done. And I walked in, and they said, "Take a seat." My boss said, "Your contract is coming up and we're not going to be renewing your contract." And I said, "Did something happen? Did I say something? Like, did something go wrong? Like, what happened?" No. You've been a fabulous member of the team. You've done everything perfect. I'm like, "Why then? What's the matter?" Like, I said to them, "I think you're making a big mistake. Like, I feel like I really have a connection with the community. Like, I really do love what I do. Like, I don't think it's a smart route." They said, "I know, we've given it a lot of thought." So basically saying, "We've thought it over. This is done. So you don't need to try to plead your case." And I was crying. And then they said, "You've been great though. Thank you so much." And I tried to be gracious, and I was like, "Okay." And I didn't know what the next step was. And it was like, well, the way things work, with companies like this is we have to walk you out. I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, I'm a mom of 2 kids. I've been here 11 years. These are like my family. I've spent more time with you guys. And it was the strangest thing because to just walk out and get they were like, I was like, "Can I get my purse?" Like, I got my purse. I walked out, and it was the end. And what was really crazy, you guys, of all days, that day, I had taken an Uber into work because my husband wanted to use my brand new car. He's in sales and he had to drive someone somewhere. So he had said, "I'm going to use your car." So when I walked out, I thought I had my car there and realized, oh my gosh, I took an Uber. I called my husband bawling. I'm like, "You have to come get me." He couldn't believe it. He drove to come get me. He picked me up. And when I got in the car, he said, "Don't cry." He looked at me, he said, "Don't cry." And then what he said, which was a little foul, so I won't repeat it, but I will just give you he said, "You're an effing CEO now." And I was shocked because he said, "You're going to be your own boss right now. And you're going to do it. Trust me. Just let's go home." So we went home, and I cried for like 2 weeks, you guys. I cried. I didn't know my identity. Like, I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Where do you go from there? Going to move my family across. And I felt like if I was #1 at the station and the only meteorologist and the one who did all the work, where else was I going to go if that wasn't good enough there? And it was crazy because about a month later, I get a phone call from SDCCU, the credit union, which is like our big bank here. They're amazing. Said, "So what were you making over there? Let's talk. What were you doing? We know that we have loved you and we've always sponsored you at NBC. We always beg to sponsor your spot because we like you. We want to pay you completely and exclusively to put your forecast out every day and continue and speak at schools and be part of our program." And they sponsored me. I literally went from no paycheck and not knowing what I was going to do to being right back on my feet and in charge of all my own stuff. So I started putting out my forecast, and then I got like the humanitarian award from UCSD like a month later. And it was like all of this windfall. The school district called and said, we want to teach your curriculum, Jodi Kodesh Weather, in our schools. And so it was just nuts how when you think, I think basically what I want my point to be to all of you ladies is that like, it is never too late to make a list of things you want to do and go after it. And if you have a good heart about it and a good work ethic about it, things are going to happen for you. And even if they seem like a setback, they most certainly are just a change, not a setback. And change happens. And I'm going to experience setbacks again, I'm sure, but I'm ready for it now because I feel like, you know, it's all about attitude. It really is. So, that's my story.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. I think everybody's like,
It gets better. There's a longer issue. There's a longer story to it, but I won't go there.
Well, what I'm going to do, Jodi, is normally like, I like to end on time. I'm a stickler on that. You know, just to
sorry.
make
I was
sure.
like, oh, trying to speak.
No. But it's very captivating. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer the ladies, you know, if you want to hop out, hop out. I'm going to put a link here to our next meeting, which is September 12th. Go ahead and click that link and register there. But Jodi, if you can stick around for a little bit longer, and if you ladies want to stick around, please do. If you need to hop off or want to hop off, just hop off. But Jodi, I'd love for you to continue because there's more of the story, and I'd love to have a Q&A, you know, so So thank you so much, everybody, for showing up and being here. But I'd love to have some Q&A because I have questions.
Yeah, there's definitely a continuation here. And you know how I said, my husband said, you're an effing CEO now? There was a reason he said that. And so about a year before I was let go, just about a year, while I was working at NBC, I went through something moms go through, especially. Yeah, moms have gone through this, and I'll tell you what happened. I was picking my son up from soccer practice, and he got in the car, and he was pretty young. He was just turning 9. And I went around the back seat to put something in and to make sure he was strapped in right. And I caught a whiff of some soccer practice. I caught a whiff of BO on my son. I know you don't expect me to go there, huh? And I thought, what? Like, I'd never be, not my little boy, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And I tried to play it off. I didn't say anything, but I was like, is that really what I smell? And I went home and I called my own mom, and I'm like, Mom, like, Cross, my son's name's Cross. I'm like, he has like underarm odor. Like, she goes, well, yeah, I mean, it's bound to happen. I go, but isn't 9 young? She goes, oh, it's kind of young, like, but she's a PE teacher. And she goes, oh, well, you better make sure he fixes that because you don't want him to be, I'm telling you, there's some stinky kids. And she's telling me, like, you better make sure he's good with that. Well, about a week after that, he had an appointment at his doctor. I say to the doctor, is it normal? And I whisper aside from my son, like, I say that he developed body odor, and he goes, oh yeah, Jodi, I mean, we get little kids like 7 in here now. Like, the hormones in the food trick their body into thinking they're older, and they've been developing body odor young. So, and I said, oh, that's crazy. And he said, well, what are you doing about that? And I go, well, his dad talked to him, you know, he takes showers and he puts deodorant. And he said, oh, no, you can't use adult deodorant. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's gonna use it. Trust me, sir, he will not be stinky. He's gonna use the deodorant. And he said, well, the pores under a child's arms are bigger than an adult's, and they have more of them. So a lot more of those bad ingredients get into their skin than an adult. And I was like, wait a minute, like, how come nobody told me this? Like, that should be like in a baby book. What is that? Like, where did that come from? And so I said, well, what do we do? He's not going to be stinky. I don't want him to get teased. And he goes, well, get like a natural deodorant. So I go home and I Google natural deodorants, and I'm looking and I'm like typing in deodorant for kids or best deodorant. And what I noticed was there's a lot of natural deodorants. There's a lot of natural deodorants that don't work at all, and people were giving horrible reviews. That's most of what I found. And I had tried them before, and I was like, no. But I didn't find anything for like that age group. And if you think about it, in the deodorant aisle, the stinkiest age group in the world, the 8 to 12-year-old boy, is the only one not in the aisle. Like, and I really saw a lot of parents talking about how, like, there should be like a deodorant that's better for like boys, and I'm an entrepreneur. I always have been. And I didn't go into my businesses. I have owned multiple businesses, but I literally was like, wait a minute. I had a little bell go off. And because I'm a scientist and I really like experiments, I started trying to create my own, which was silly, but you know, I was just trying to create my own and looking at the ingredients and learning so much about the ingredients. And I told my husband, this is something that needs to happen. There needs to be marketed to boys and eventually girls, but boys, because they didn't have anything. Girls had a few teen products, but boys didn't. Like a deodorant for boys, where you're not a baby, you're not a man, but you're just like a step in the middle, you know, and it's better than what is out there. It might not be perfect, but it's better than what's out there. So my husband was doing a lot of that on the side, working on, you know, looking up how we could make it and what goes into it. And when I got let go, that's what he meant when he said, you're an effing CEO now. Because at the time I had gotten let go, we were really making some major strides, and other companies were looking at us like, this is something. And we were getting distributors and manufacturers that were like, this is legit. Like, that's a great idea. So we found a manufacturer and we created a company called Level Up for boys. And it's a play on a gaming term, you know, like you level up in games, which is perfect for that demo. But really, it's like, you don't need to grow up, you just need to level up, right? So we created, and actually I've never done this. Nobody has ever seen this product, but I'm gonna pull one out. Oh, maybe I don't have it. Hold on, let me see. I'll get it if I don't. What I did was I created Level Up deodorant for boys, for growing boys. And it basically is 99% natural and 1% fragrance, because what we found in our research is that even to moms, they wanted it to smell good. Boys wanted to smell good when they put it on. Like, they wanted to smell good. And I had my sons as perfect, people to run it by. We have a manufacturer. It is right now, all of our containers arrived, and we're like literally weeks away from pouring like thousands of Level Up deodorant for boys that's going to be sold on Amazon and also on our website. And then it's going to be so cool because right behind it already we're working on girls. We had to start somewhere, so I had to start with boys, and girls is similar formula, but it's just a different scent. And anyway, that was what has kept me so busy. So I do weather during the day, but all day long I deal back and forth with a team of chemists. So I hired a team of chemists, and we actually formulated a really cool deodorant. And I'm really proud of it. So that's what he meant by you're going to be a CEO. Let me see here.
While you're looking for that, Jodi, I'll just pop in and say that sometimes what we think initially is like a shock to our system, yes, and like a big negative is actually what catapults us into our purpose.
Yes.
So that's powerful.
It is, and it's like growing up, when I was saying I always would just dream to be that weather person. Do you think I ever would have said, I'm going to be the owner of a deodorant company? I still laugh at it. So I don't know if you can see, it's hard to tell because it's on a metallic base, but it's very difficult with the lighting here. It's legit. It's Level Up for boys. It's a metallic blue writing. And what's really cool about it is we went through dermatologist testing, which a lot of people don't know. You have to go through like 10 weeks where they legitimately test people, 100 people, and it's every week it's applied, and it's a really big process. And for us, we passed with numbers that they have not seen. We passed with flying colors. Yeah. So we had to wait 10 weeks, which was so scary because if we would have been declined, it would have just shut down our whole company, because I couldn't have a deodorant for kids that wasn't going to pass the dermatologist testing. And we were certified cruelty-free, and we got the Leaping Bunny logo. So we have Leaping Bunny. We're vegan friendly, no gluten, made in the USA, which is a big deal. And yeah, no aluminum, no parabens, no alcohol, and it works. And my whole family wears it.
Wow.
So I smell like a 12-year-old boy right now in the good version, the clean version. Yeah, it's crazy. So I did a podcast last year, and it ended up going so well because I talked about the deodorant, and so many people were like, what are you doing? And this is only the second time I've ever talked about it. But I think that sometimes you have to trust that your life is going to go in directions you did not anticipate, and trust that there's a reason for everything, I told you what my life was like and how I really didn't have a life when I was working at NBC, because I really did work so hard, and I was tired all the time, and I was irritable all the time, and I was going through so much, and thinking that that's your dream job though. You got to live that way. now I would say that I have my dream job, and I didn't get it until after I got fired, which is why I said being fired from NBC was the best thing that ever happened to me. My son is sitting on the couch in front of me listening to his mom talk to a group of amazing women, being hopefully inspired, has a company that hopefully one day they can take over. We're working on a whole hygiene line for boys, a whole hygiene line, you know, and I'm able to be here with my husband right now and go to sleep when I want, wake up when I want, and do my own weather and connect with the community. So it really is the best thing that ever happened to me. And like, that's it. That's all I hope that you guys got from that. Is there any like questions? I feel like when I can't hear because there's no back and forth, that I'm just talking.
Yeah, that's the only challenge I think with the Zoom aspect, right? But amazing story. We're would love to link to the boys deodorant, beautiful.
Well, we don't have it up yet. It's not up yet because it's not out yet. It's done. It's ready to go, but it's not up yet. So
yeah. So I was going to ask you, what are your plans to go to market with it? Like when and what are the plans?
The hard part is because COVID hit, like we should have already probably been to market before back to school. Like technically, if the kids were going back to school, that was going to be our like launch. COVID hit, and right now all of our containers are at the manufacturer's facility ready to go. All of the different ingredients, because ingredients, they don't come from one place, they come from multiple places, right? So if you have coconut oil, it comes from this person. So we have now gigantic orders of several ingredients that are being shipped, and each company now is on their own timeline because of COVID. So our manufacturer is just waiting, like, okay, we got the fragrance in. Okay, we got this part in. We got the Deoplex in because we have an ingredient called Deoplex. And so once they get them all, and it could be tomorrow, it could be 5 weeks from now. It's one of those things where they're all just kind of, we're waiting. Once they get them all, they put us online, basically meaning 4 weeks from now we run. So it's like a month after they come. So I'm saying 2 months, maybe max 3 that were made. Once it's made, it's ready to go because we have everything else like websites, you know, marketing, all of that ready to go. So I'm hoping that like it's like by Christmas time, or, you know, that will be out and running. You'll certainly hear me talk about it. I'll be saying it everywhere, hopefully, when that comes time.
Well, that's exciting. I love it.
I'm just waiting on ingredients.
Yeah. So Cynthia Trevino has a question.
Yeah. Hi, Jodi. Hi. I'm a fan because I'm in San Diego. I had PM'd you. It's so great to see you.
Thank you so much.
I was such a fan. I was so sad when you left. But so here's my question. It's kind of a dumb question, but I love it because I'm a marketing geek. That's what I do. I teach. Are you going to have the social media for Level Up? Its own social media?
Yes, absolutely. So I already have all the handles. I already have everything down to TikTok. Everything's ready to go. So really, when we're starting with boys, we're going hardcore boys out the gate because that's what's missing, and that's what I know. So, you know, do what you know best, and I know boys. So what we're kind of gonna gear our social media about is you know, there's so many young boys that do outstanding things, and they might do things that are manly. They might open businesses, but they're not men yet. They're boys still. So we want to bring back, you know, the successful boys. So boys that are doing big things, maybe they're doing big things at their school. Maybe they're doing amazing at sports, but we really want to highlight boys that are doing manly things, but they're still boys. And that's kind of what our social media is. It's better for our boys, basically. Yeah. And girls are coming, trust me. I am like the epitome of somebody who wants to like run with the girl side as well. But we had to start somewhere. And so we made a decision to, instead of doing boys and girls at the same time, we want to build a boy brand first and then go with the girls.
I love that.
It's awesome. I love it. Do you give sets for boys? Let's see. Do you have
that's what we're doing. That's what we were trying to do. And so because the deodorant is so difficult, people don't realize like the amount of time and effort that goes into making the ingredients with deodorants. Oh, it's ridiculous. And anytime you change the tiniest thing, it changes the whole formulation and then it might not work, you know? So we had to go through, hundreds, probably 300 different formulas. And every time we're trying them, I have like boxes of deodorants, all over my house. And so our plan is to have a deodorant. We call it a spritzer, not a cologne, because we don't want anything strong like they're coming out of the club. Something that smells fresh and clean that's not going to offend a teacher or like, smell like, chat at the club. And then we want it to be we're going to do face wipes as well. And that's because around this age, they start, and it's hard to get boys to take showers. I don't care what you say, but I am hearing that from a lot of moms. Getting boys to take a thorough shower is a little bit difficult. But I noticed when my son started to kind of get that teenage face, that I would give him my wipes and say, wipe your face, even if he took a shower, and it would fix it. So we're thinking face wipes or a Bath and Body Wash. Actually, it's Bath and Body Wash, the spritzer, and the deodorant in the first gift box. So it would be like a level up gift box. And my hope is that, that day where the mom says, oh man, he's hitting that point, I smell something funny in his room, that it can just be like, let's go to the website. You leveled up. Here you go, level up. And you get your subscription that shows up that month. And that's what we're aiming toward. We're going to launch the deodorant before we have a gift box, though, because
it's like a badge of honor, right? You've leveled up.
And that's how it should be. Yeah. And I want it to be that way for girls too, but we have our own badge of honor.
Yeah. Something not everybody sees or smells. Well, but anyway, that's so awesome. I love that. My question, I forgot what my question was, darn it. Does anybody, Latara asked, she's asked, do you have a teaser site that people can sign up to get updates so that when it does launch, like you have this huge back order?
Actually, I don't, but I saw that right now, and that is the best idea. I'm going to write it down because, absolutely. And now I'm like, how can I do that tonight? I have to work on that.
Saying, even if you have a teaser video with everything, sharing your story, people can say, sign up here, and we'll let you know when we go live.
Right. And I'm going to do that.
Or pre-orders, like even just kind of like GoFundMe's, because like people do these GoFundMe's, and basically you're placing pre-orders for something that's going to come out 3 years from now.
I think I was just so scared to do that because this is my first product that I made, and I wanted to make sure nothing fell through. Like they say, we can't get this Deoplex after all, it's going to be done next year, something silly. And so I kind of wanted to make sure they're poured. The minute I see them coming down the assembly line, I have like 15 things I have to do, so I just want to make sure it's legit, and I'm just like a perfectionist that way. So that's why I haven't really been like telling everybody or filming anything yet. And I'm feeling better though about telling you guys about it.
Yeah, that's awesome, because it's always like fun.
Say it out loud. I'm not like done that or showed anybody. Nobody's seen that.
Like the teasers, right? Just like getting it like coming soon. I mean, think about all the movies that said coming soon, and then COVID hit, right? They're not coming soon.
I know.
Yeah.
It's been difficult.
So Latara says, reach out to her. She can totally get that set up tonight. So
I know.
Marianne has a question. Marianne.
Got a question.
You're muted.
There you go.
Hi, Jodi. I'm Marianne. I'm in San Diego.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to pull. Okay, yeah, there you are. I can see you. Go ahead.
Hi. I don't know if you caught that when I did my self intro, besides my tax stuff, I also have an essential oil business. And so when you started talking about your ingredients and you said the one thing that wasn't natural was the fragrance.
Yes.
I thought, well, that's an easy fix.
Right.
If you want it to be 100% natural, it can be. So that's just something I just wanted to point that out, which you probably already know. But another question I have is, since I've been in the essential oil world, I've come to realize there are a lot of people sensitive to coconut oil, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
And so are you considering, my daughter being one of them, which I didn't know, we figured that out when she was 30 years old. She was not sensitive to coconut oil before that. So I don't even know what happened. So are you considering, so deodorants are something that's a problem for her. They want to be natural, but they're all coconut oil. So are you considering maybe, especially maybe in the girls line, maybe it's more of an issue for girls to find, I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, no, it's, there's so many different routes I could take, I could do no fragrance at all. And I'm sure we'll have that as well. Like a sensitive skin line, they're all on my list of things that I want to try to tackle. For me, it was just important because when I went through our ingredients, we have very little coconut oil, but there is, and I wouldn't say coconut oil. It's a coconut, I don't know how to explain it because I'm not a chemist, but
might be a coconut extract, because sometimes extract.
It's more of a, let me see, it's more of a, I'm trying to think of the word here. What happens is they will take part of a coconut and they will split it and scientifically mess with it. So it's not coconut oil, but it may have some of the properties that coconut oil would have. That's why it was very important for me to do the the hypoallergenic testing was because I wanted to make sure whatever we put out was tested on as many people possible for as long as possible. And the dermatologist who actually reviewed our numbers and went through said, I haven't seen numbers this low, like that there was 0, not even like one person with a little red, 0 of all of the entrants that had any irritation at all, which was pretty rare. And so right now we're going with that, and we'll see how it goes. You know, I might hate this formula a year from now. I might be like, we need to reformulate, you know, we just have to start somewhere. And that's been the hardest part, is that it literally has taken 3 years because I didn't want to, like, maybe this one I didn't think worked as good, or maybe this one. And my husband would say, we just need to launch. And I'm like, I want it to be perfect. So, you know, I definitely agree though. There's a lot of people that have sensitivities, and deodorant goes under your underarm. So hopefully one day we can have a like real sensitive skin deodorant for kids as well.
Let me make one quick comment. It was kind of interesting. For those of you that don't know what a thermogram is, I recently had a thermogram done. And so during my consultation, after all the pictures were developed and stuff, she said to me, do you wear natural deodorant? And I said, well, actually, because I work at home most of the time by myself, half the time I don't even wear anything. I said, but yeah, when I go out, I wear, natural deodorant. And you know, she said to me, it shows. She said I had nothing in this whole lymphatic area here, nothing as far as the colors being off, indicating that there was any inflammation. So yeah, natural deodorant is huge.
Yeah.
You talked about hormone disruptors.
Uh-huh.
Those of you that don't know, it's gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you.
I agree.
Even though I don't have a boy, I will be a customer.
I agree. And that's why I was like, why don't they tell you this? Like, you know, I grew up, and when you start to have body odor, your mom's like, here, use our deodorant. It's like the household deodorant, you know, it's like what's in the bathroom. And when he said the pores are bigger and there's more of them and it goes into their skin more. And I was like, wait, what? And he goes, and that's at a time when they're sensitive and their bodies are growing. And I was saying, well, what? There should be like a red flag somewhere, like in the aisle, like don't put it on. And yeah, so I'm just hoping that I can have like an end cap somewhere that's like for boys, you know, like better and, you know, natural materials, and have it out there. And I hope that I have for girls too, but it's just like, you never know. I've started businesses before where we thought it was going to be amazing and ended up being nothing. So I have an open mind about it, and, you know, we're just going to go where it takes us.
Awesome.
What
I know
about your story, you know, just, you know, for the ladies here is, I love the tenacity, and I love how you stepped into things and you didn't have to be perfect, and you just had that perseverance, and also just the idea of staying ready. You know, you became an expert, and that way when you were called to step up, you were ready for that. And I think that's powerful. And then unfortunately, I felt like I was going to cry because I have that HR background, right? And I remember in 2008, 2009, when the economy crashed, I remember flying around the world, laying off 60% of our population.
So sad.
Pulling people in, and that uncomfortableness, and that, I mean, and so when you started sharing that piece of your story, I could totally picture it, because it's just, it's a horrific experience. It's a horrific experience for the person. And for those of us that do have heart in the human resources community, it's a horrific experience for us as well, because we know we're impacting lives. So I'm just grateful that you were able to find your passion and your gift.
Well, thank you. I know the HR girl that I said was sitting there, she was bawling. She was crying, like she had tears. And it was really sad because the two men in the room were just stoic and like just straight faced. And even when I looked to them for some sort of like compassion, it just was blank. But she was looking through her paperwork, and she just had tears dropping down onto it. And she was the one who had to explain stuff to me. Like, here's what we're going to give you, and here's what you're going to leave with today. And I mean, I felt bad for her. I kept saying, I'm sorry. Like, I was telling her I'm sorry. And she was like, no, no, no. And we were both crying. But, you know, telling that, it's almost hard for me. Like, I'm like, ooh, I want to put that behind me. I have like PTSD from that day. You know what I mean? I really do. I feel like out of body, like that was some other, like a little girl going through that, not somebody who was a woman that now feels like, oh, okay, that happened, we're cool, you know? But I feel like it was more, I feel bad for that person sitting in that chair, but I don't feel bad for this person sitting in this chair right now, you know? We're different people every time. We're different people every day. And so I have my up and down days too, just like everybody, but you know, my sponsor could leave me tomorrow. That could be a big deal, you know, but hopefully this company and I can continue to do what I like, you know.
That's awesome.
I appreciate everybody for staying and watching me talk.
Well, Kaya had her hand up, so hold on one second, then we'll come back to Cynthia. But first of all, I want to mention something that Kaya wrote. She says, I've been using ND, I'm not sure what that stands for, natural deodorant, for my whole life, and it's crazy challenging to do well. I'm so excited for this new product. Boys stop showering until they start to want to be noticed by girls.
Yes, it is so true. That is so true. And it's funny because it's not just me. I noticed that, like, and we're very big on hygiene in my family. So like every day we're like, go take your shower, you know, every day our boys go take your shower time. So when I've talked to other moms at schools or friends of mine, they'll say, what is it? I can't get Tyler to take a shower. He's like a cat. I have to force him in, you know? Or they would say like, I can't. And they would say, my daughter goes and takes a shower, but my son, like he won't. And it's really funny because my son just about to turn 14 this month. And he came to me, let me make sure he's not in here, the other day. And he was like, hey mom, you know how I wear a lot of anime shirts, like anime t-shirts? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, maybe could you buy me some that are like cooler, like maybe like so don't have the drawings on them or that they, and I said, oh yeah, I always just bought you those because you like those. And he was like, yeah, but now I think they look a little bit like kind of kiddish, you know, with the cartoon on them. And I was like, yeah, well that's you. I'll gladly buy you some nice ones you want. And I was going through Amazon and he was like, I just want to have like a little better style. Well, it was strange because he went and took a shower and came out and his hair was all combed and he looked all good. And I thought, who are you talking to?
Yep.
Who did you meet online? Like, what are you doing? I was like, do I gotta go through his phone tonight? Like, what is he doing? And I knew, I was like, I'm not stupid. This boy all of a sudden looks like a little GQ. He's all like combed up. I'm like, oh, and now he's 14. Come on, we know that's the age, you know? I mean, it's like, so now I think it's funny because he would be the perfect candidate for, you know, using those products, I think, you know, or even younger, my 8-year-old.
Yeah. Like you have your boys for the commercials already.
I know. We shot some pictures like 2 years ago when we thought, oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to launch tomorrow. It's the deodorant. I already figured it out. We shot like little ads. We paid like a studio. They looked amazing. It's so, doing a deodorant was not as easy as we thought it was going to be. I mean, you have to go through approval after approval. You can't just make it. And so, yeah, learning now my kids, my 14-year-old looks like a little man. And back then he looked like a little boy. It's like a whole different age group.
It's funny. Well, awesome. Kaya.
Hi. I really love this. I'm so excited. Your story was really inspirational. And I know you worked hard, but there's also like, from my perspective, and like an energetic alignment that you've been in, allows things to be possible for you.
Yep.
And also a way that you approach things and assume that things are gonna work, which is great. And the deodorant, for me, whenever I'm curious about this a little bit because if they say it's for sensitive skin or they say it's for bigger pores, it's probably for everyone because all of us need those things that are gentle on our bodies and don't have residue and don't change our chemistry in a way that changes our hormones. And, you know, this is right where our lymphatic system also is. And people just don't, you block your pores and anyway, so I'm
so true. That is so true. What you're saying is absolutely true because one of the things I noticed is when I would wear regular deodorant, you know, before, and then I'd get our sample, you know, that I knew worked good, and I would use it for like 2 days, I would smell really bad. It was the old deodorant coming out. It's like you're detoxing your underarms, and then it would work really good. It was like I had to detox of the old chemicals that are stuck in your pores. They have to come out, especially if you use like an antiperspirant that's super bad for you. So,
and it's only been in the last couple of years that antiperspirants have been available.
Yeah.
Non-antiperspirants have been available. It was really, so I was kind of curious because even in this hunt for natural deodorant, my deodorant is very complicated in my house. I use essential oils. I've been involved with an essential oil company for 20 years.
Oh, neat.
I use essential oils and coconut oil mostly to help balance my hormones. And I find that it's such an absorbent place and is directly connected to my lymphatic system. I feel good about putting oils on that way at night.
Mm-hmm.
The crystal,
the salt crystal.
It's the only thing that I have been able to use consistently that I don't feel like so I go from like I question the purity of that or the non-toxicity of that. But a friend of mine that is a chemist said that because there's a word aluminum actually in the ingredients, that it's a different kind of aluminum.
Yes, there's different types.
Right. So she said, no, this is not one that will congest your lymphs and it's non-toxic. So I stack my deodorants depending on what I do. And then I also have an antiperspirant for the times I'm going to talk on stage and still need to hug people afterwards.
Yes, right? I totally get that.
You know, and then that nervous sweat. Anyway,
it's very different type of sweat, and the different type that a young boy has and a young girl has are different. There's so many different body chemistry combinations that go around that. You know, that's why deodorants will work on some people and not on others.
Right, but we're all really different. And then this is way you're in this baby phase of things in a lot of ways. You do this for years at the same time. It's still a baby thing.
Yeah, it's a baby.
I'm curious, like because I have lots of friends that have boys and I have clients that have boys, and it's not just boys, but it's a perfect place to start for the marketing. But you know those toxic balls that they put in shoes for deodorants?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like looking for a natural way to do that. Yeah. Pair with somebody else.
It's so funny you said that.
And so many people, different ethnicities are different about how they sweat and they sleep and what they like, and sort of this oily residue that gets on sheets and on pajamas and on workout clothes. And I've had to help people find things that are certain kinds of enzymes and stuff like that to actually be able to clean that stuff out through the fabric.
Uh-huh.
And really, so it would be interesting to sort of stack this thing of natural support for sports and for people that are athletic, and it'll be used for a lot of other things. But
that's why when we had to, you know, when you're going through, you have to have patents on things. You have to trademark things. So when we went through our trademark and when we went through filing, we weren't just filing for a deodorant. We had to file for a brand. So I mean, there's a list of probably 300 products, down to shoe inserts and down to younger razors. I mean, you name it, anything. Like it's so much thought that we've put into it over the years, and even ideas other people have given us. So it's like down to moisture wicking t-shirts, if you think about it, you know, where it's better for people. I've had every idea, and that's the one thing that I feel like there's so much that it's almost overwhelming. We just have to just go with one, you know? So we're just starting with the deodorant because that's the most important, or that was where it started. And we'll see, you know?
Is it the Icebreakers company that makes the all wool undergarments and clothes that are, because wool is the thing that wicks away and doesn't have to be hot.
I don't know.
I think the company might be called Icebreaker. I think I might be wrong.
Well,
anyway.
let's do this. I want to thank you so much. I want to respect Jodi's time and everybody else's time, but because normally we do our after party, right? And we get the ladies to stick around. So this is awesome, but I want to make sure that we respect Jodi's time.
Oh, and I'm fine. I'm just sitting at home during COVID. So whatever you need to do.
Well, awesome. I know Cynthia had
your time. You know, I'm just fine.
Yeah. And so what I want to do now is like just any questions for her, specifically for Jodi. Cynthia, Marianne, because the comments are great, but I really want to respect Jodi's time. So we're going to ask her questions now related to what she spoke about. But what I want to know, Jodi, is I'd like to see what your son looks like. Is he available? Can you show us?
He will kill me though. Let me see. Do I have a picture of him? Actually, I can maybe show on the camera, but he's not going to come down here. And I'll tell you why. Because he's in t-shirts and boxers.
Oh, okay.
He's a boy.
Awesome. Fantastic. So any more questions for Jodi? Marianne.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so having been a tax person for 30 years, I always think about the tax consequences of anything. I mean, just automatically. And when you said that your boys were being photographed, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start their Roth account. So pay them use that money, put it into their Roth account. It's a business deduction for you. It's tax-free income for them now. It's going to grow for the next 40 years. The whole thing is going to be tax-free. It's an awesome, and this is any entrepreneur that you have kids.
Yes, you know, my son actually, and my husband is a financial advisor, I should say that. So he definitely is like all over all of that. But my son, my oldest, when he was 10, he's going to be 14 now, he started a company, a jewelry company, and it's called Downtown 10. He runs his own company now, and it's a legitimate jewelry company. If anybody wants to look at downtown and the number 10.com, it's like my necklace, like these, and everything is under $20. He ships same day out of San Diego, but he imports, he buys, he does wholesale, and it's a really cool company. So he definitely, and I made a note of that too, like what you said, so I can ask my husband about it. But yeah, he's been doing that for a few years now. And when I came home, once I was not working at NBC, we joined together. Like now it's a family business. So I pick the jewelry too, and he ships it out, takes the orders and drops it off. And so it's worth looking at. But yeah, it's a cool company.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. What I'd like to do is invite one last question so we can end for the day. I'm doing a summit meeting at 2:00. Anybody who wants to attend that, there is a completely different registration number to click for that. I'll put it in the comments, but I'm going to be holding the Women Action Takers Summit. I picked a date in November 14th. And so I'm looking for women who want to help me put this all together as well as participate. So if you're interested in that, I'll go ahead and drop the link there. But any last questions for Jodi? And we got Angie, man, it must be, what time is it over there?
I was wondering that. And
like 11 p.m. Are you like 11 p.m. right now?
It's past 11 p.m. so it's going to midnight. So
So
let me say I am really, really impressed, Jodi. That is an awesome story.
Thank you.
And I had shared very little with Linda about how I was laid off and how I sat on the ground somewhere and cried. So I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
But that is just the beginning. Yeah, when one door shuts, another one just opens, and that's awesome.
I believe that. I totally believe that.
It's nice to meet you all, ladies. I hope to be able to link up with all of us some other time, Linda.
Thank you so much, Angie, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, sweet dreams. Before you hop off, since we have everybody on camera, let me take a quick photo. Smile.
Okay.
Hold on, just my hair in a ponytail.
You did it?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Jodi, I want to thank you so much for being here and, for sharing your story. And I got a little worried there. I'll be honest. When only 6 had registered by 2 days ago.
I know, right?
Yeah, because, when I have speakers come in, I really want to be able to, have them be able to have, women they can share with. And if people aren't going to show up, then that doesn't work too well. So I want to thank all you ladies for being here. Hopefully you got some value out of this session today. Just the ladies having this opportunity to do the behind the scenes networking, share ourselves in a different way, and just changing it up. I'm always looking for different ways to run the meetings because I don't want them to be just like every other networking meeting out there. So I'm doing my best to, figure out different ways to do it. If you have ideas, I'm open to hearing all the ideas. It doesn't mean I use all ideas. And that's one thing I learned as a reformed people pleaser, that you can't use everybody's ideas. You have to take the ones that are going to work for you at the moment. So I want to thank everybody so much for being here. Linda, definitely want to know more about the summit. Awesome. Click that link. Oh, Michelle, I think you can't get on the call. Okay. So thank you everybody for being here. Jodi, amazing. And oh my gosh, I'm sure you could have talked for probably like 3 or 4 hours. There's so much. Absolutely amazing.
I thank you, Linda, for having me on.
You're welcome. And it's so true. Like when one door closes, another one opens. There's a saying, it says, your biggest setback is usually a setup to your biggest success. And it sounds like that's kind of what's happened for you, Jodi. And it happens to, I think, all of us, but sometimes we don't recognize it. So it's time to just start looking at it, seeing how those setbacks are changing our lives to give us this better life that we're wanting, but then keep on task. Like she's like, we're doing the one thing right now. We're doing the one thing right now. Because when that hits out there and hits out of the park, then it's time to add the next thing. So everybody, amazing. Just have a great day. And I'll see some of you at 2:00 because my phone thinks I'm talking to it. So I'll see some of you at 2:00 Pacific time for the summit meeting. I'm looking forward to sharing what that is all about. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.